Hi guys, welcome to Counterpoints. My name's Connor. I'm a science fiction, politics, and philosophy nerd and a Marine Corps and law enforcement veteran, and I have a little bit of a drama treat for you today. There's a gentleman by the name of Rob's Media. He is a drama channel, but what he broke down is he documented half a dozen to a dozen creators who are from BreadTube, the left wing of the internet, and how they've had economic and social media downfalls. I'm going to be using this to make a drawing, an artistic drawing showing the collapse of the Vosh orbit, showing the collapse of a section of Twitch and YouTube politics. So it should be really fun. Let's go ahead and get it cracking, and I'll be throwing on my Bob Ross wig momentarily in order to start painting. Let's go.
BreadTube began as a way to combat various different anti-SJW YouTubers during the mid-2010s.
I'm going to bump the volume with a booster real quick.
Based on the book Conquest of Bread, the term has come to describe various different left-leaning content creators on YouTube and Twitch. It's a very loose community with lots of division in recent years, leading to many of these BreadTubers fading from relevancy.
Sorry, that feels a little loud. Cancel. Sorry. Volume booster. Good Lord.
Or suffering major reputational damage due to various controversies. Recently, there's been a surge of BreadTubers e-begging in order to financially cope with their downfalls, though some like myself have been picking up on quite a pattern. What's actually causing their decline in viewership and monetary success? It should become obvious to you by the end of this video. Innuendo Studios, or Ian, began his channel around 2014 during the Gamergate era. He aspired to create content revolving around it, defending those like Anita Sarkeesian from what he believed was unjust hate. However, Ian didn't have the time to produce enough videos due to other freelance work, so he created a Kickstarter campaign to ask for donations.
All right, so I just showed you this guy's, well, actually, let him talk real quick.
I'm shooting for is to carve about 4 months out of my schedule where this would be my main project, with only the least time-consuming freelance work on the side. During that time, I'm targeting about 100 minutes of video content. That could be 5 20-minute essays, it could be 25-minute essays. Math. If I get to the end of 4 months and I haven't hit 100 minutes, I keep going. If I get to 100 minutes and there's still any Kickstarter money left, I keep going. And if I go over my funding goal, I just add on minutes and months. As for rewards, I have some. A variety of options, including a personalized mixtape made by me, a portrait of you made by the great Amanda Watkins, and for people in the Massachusetts area, 1 homemade vegan cheesecake.
Yeah, I think you can tell the kind of person he is just from that snippet. Over the next year, Ian would
So now that you see who he is, I'm going to skip a little. I'm not going to skip a little bit ahead content-wise. I'm just going to let it play while I'm making my drawing. However, I am just going to inform you that this is the author of the alt-right playbook. For me, the alt-right playbook is, it was okay. All right, it was okay because I think it documented some argumentations that you were seeing in dissident right-wing circles. And it also documented some social phenomena that was common in online debate and online politics. I think the problem with the alt-right playbook, from my perspective, was the fact that it generalized argumentation styles that are common amongst stupid people. And it said that it was only the dissident right who was doing it. And I think that's one of the things that like frustrated me when I had like normie liberal friends sharing alt-right playbook content with me. I was like, yeah, like logical fallacies and red herrings and appeals to consensus and appeals to this and that. Those are all common online. This isn't just the dissident right-wing thing. Yeah, Gamergate was a decade ago. I know. Welcome to the world. You're an old bitch. What have you done in the past decade? If it's just consume online content, you might want to think about doing other things. We're all dying. So we're all dying, bitch. Let's go eat a pear. So I'm going to let this play in the background while I start my drawing.
indeed produce over 100 hours of content, making an update video in September 2015 to announce its new Patreon.
My name is Ian. I have launched a Patreon campaign. If I can somehow get it up to $1,250 per video, I can afford to keep treating this as one of my main jobs. And I can guarantee at least one 10 to 15 minute video every month, sometimes more. The Kickstarter money will be gone soon, so if you like what I make, this is how we keep the party going.
And over the next several years, Ian would make your standard, pretentious leftist video essays about things like art and gaming culture, though the real game changer was a series, The Alt-Right Playbook, which began in 2017. It became a massive hit for his channel, with the average installment garnering over 1 million views, though most outside BreadTube weren't really familiar with it, and it would eventually fade into obscurity, as Ian uploaded less and less over the next 8 years. I watched a handful of episodes in preparation for this video, and I was quite unimpressed by it. For how legendary people have made it seem, the Alt-Right Playbook literally just feels like Ian's guide to arguing with people on Twitter. For instance, in the 3rd episode, he discusses ways to win an argument about Anita Sarkeesian's sketchy Kickstarter campaigns.
Now, by this time, you've noticed your interlocutor's position has changed from she stole from people to she asked too much to begin with to she took too long to deliver, as though these are all the same argument. And you also notice the pattern of the conversation. He says something short, quippy, and wrong. You give a detailed correction. He says something else short, quippy, wrong, and only tangentially related to his last point, and the cycle repeats itself. This goes on and on. And it's not you've noticed just this discussion. You find this manner of argument often when you express left-of-center beliefs.
And it's fine if he wants to discuss that, but these aren't groundbreaking discoveries. This is just how discourse and debate works. The best way to describe Ian is pretentious. He's very pretentious. He has this savior complex and wishes to be taken seriously by the online left. But in reality, this guy is just a sad, pathetic loser. Before Gamergate, Ian made this blog post about this bizarre advancement he made towards a random indie dev back in 2000.
Okay, so I wanted to make this point, and I think Rob, because he's probably not obsessed with Twitch and YouTube politics to the same degree that I am, that is the argument that I was making earlier, where effectively, like, moving the goalposts. We've all, if you've argued with people on Twitter, if you've argued with people on Reddit, if you've argued with people around a dinner table, people moving the goalposts is common in argumentation regardless of political persuasion, and it has a lot to do with post hoc reasoning. What starts is you start with a hyperbolic claim. I'll do this perfectly. I'll use me. Joe Biden and Hunter Biden are engaged in international corruption that has sullied the presidency. Let's say that is a 4 year ago argument that I was making. Well, if Destiny, because Destiny's a smart dickhead, and you guys are relatively speaking smart dickheads, what you could be is like, okay, well, what's the evidence? And I would go, oh, well, Hunter Biden worked as a lawyer and he got money from corrupt foreign organizations. And then the corrupt foreign organizations, he took that money and he funneled it to his family without paying his taxes. Well, what's happened is we've shifted the argument away from Joe Biden because Joe Biden isn't a part of that line of argumentation. It's almost exclusively Hunter, and it's like the uncle. And then you could start digging into the details of, well, is it illegal to have cronyism or nepotism? Is it illegal to be the son of a famous person and get a job? And the answer is no. It's unethical, but if you're famous because your dad's famous, it's not a crime to take a job. And then same thing with like sending the money back to your family. Is that illegal? No, could be unethical, but it's not illegal. And that's where you could shift the line of argumentation, even with my argumentation, where I think it's sussy baka that Hunter Biden took millions of dollars over the course of a year, funneled it back to his family tax-free. But what you ultimately end up is that Hunter Biden is a drug addict who engaged in tax evasion. We start with Hunter Biden and Joe Biden are corrupting the presidency. We end at Hunter Biden is a drug addict and he committed tax evasion. So that's where, for me, shifting the goalposts is neither left nor right. It's an argumentative strategy, intentional and subconscious, that applies to almost everybody who's using post hoc reasoning, including me.
2008. He found out she was a woman and sent this insanely creepy email. "You are beautiful and wonderful and funny and perfect. I pledge myself to you. If we ever meet, know this. Always, 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 I am yours." He did apologize, but it's insanely drawn out, as he felt the need to address every single little thing. Oh, and he left this goofy photo of himself holding an apology sign. "I'm sorry, my lady. I didn't mean to offend you." Like a lot of leftists, Ian is way too public about his sex life. giving away details most men wouldn't spill if they're being waterboarded. He's very open about the fact that he's a cuck, yet is still super insecure about it, leading to him producing an entire 17-minute video about the semantics of cuckoldry. Since he is a breadtuber, Ian opens it up by trying to politicize the term. He strawmans his attractors as deeply offended right-wingers who just don't understand his lifestyle. A lifestyle where he watches his girl getting plowed by Big Dick Randy.
The truth is, I've been at this a while, and there have been stretches where I was dating only one person who had multiple partners. There have also been stretches where I was dating multiple people, all of whom were only involved with me, so I guess I was cucking them. And honestly, it's all just dating. You do this long enough, you're gonna be in a lot of permutations.
Most people like myself aren't trying to moralize this. We're just here to make fun of you, Ian. And hey, argue all you want about how you're actually happy being a cuck. It's not like those alt-writers were correct about you.
I call this one the slow breakup. It's like when your partner starts canceling date nights and then starts getting home really late and then starts sleeping on the couch, and you keep asking, hey, is there something wrong? And they just say, oh, sweetie, of course not. Work is just running me ragged lately. And when I have time off, I'm too tired to go out. And I get home so late these days, I don't want to wake you up by coming to bed. And then one day you get home and their bags are packed. And they're like, look, we both saw this coming. You know that thing. You know, this happens to everybody, right?
Yeah, his polyamorous girlfriend broke up with him for another man. What a
Hold on, I want to see. Oh no, I was hoping that it was going to be his face, but it ended up just being the cartoon drawing. Listen, man. Lol, the wig looks natural. I know. This is just my hair when it's longer. But guys, listen. Philip Coffey is the only person who gets a open relationship pass in my community. Okay, Philip Coffey has been an on and off fan of the stream. He's come in, he's super chatted, he watches VODs, he comments stuff. You know, Philip Coffey is the only guy who gets a pass in my opinion. The rest of you guys, I'm just going to tell you straight, it doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work. Out of all the people who I know who are in open relationships, I would say 80% of them, 90% of them have had it blow up in their face. And I'm not just talking about like public personas. I'm talking about people who are like involved in polycules. And effectively, the only polycules that I know are relatively stable thruples. And what I mean by that is they don't have like a constant rotation of people that the girl is dating or the guy is dating, and they're bringing people in and out all the time. What they have is they have either a guy with two girls. I think that's the only one that I know of. A guy with two girls, and one of the girls or both of the girls are bisexual, and then they're either into each other and both into the guy, or they're one of them's like a lesbian and one of them's bisexual, and the girl is lesbian with the girl and heterosexual with the guy, and they all kind of make their peace with the throuple status. Though that's a stable throuple is the only thing that I've seen work. And by the way, like, work is a question of degrees, because even monogamous relationships are difficult. Okay. And so I don't think anybody really has like the idealistic, perfect from day one to day a million relationship. I think that relationships take work, but I'm just telling you, the one that you're probably picturing, if you're a young person and you're like, yeah, I'm going to be polyamorous, I'm going to let my girl do whatever she wants, and I'm going to go do whatever I want. And as a result, we're just going to have this constant rotation of, I'm just not jealous, so I'm just going to let all these dudes hook up with my girl, but I'm also going to be on the side hooking up with all these other chicks. Like that, I've never seen that work. The dudes get jealous, the girls get jealous, the emotions get crazy, everything falls apart. So I'm sorry, like if you want to not morally load it, I'm going to morally load it. If you're 15 to 25 and you're dating and you're figuring things out and you're doing this and you're doing that and you're seeing what works and you're not seeing what works, I'm not going to dog on you super hard. If you're like 40 and you look back at your relational history and it's nothing but disaster, and you're somebody who's advocating for this position, I'm not going to lie, I kind of think you're an arsler. No offense. I might love you. You might even be a strong community member. But I've never seen it work.
You know that thing. You know, this happens to everybody, right?
Yeah, his polyamorous girlfriend broke up with him for another man. What a shock. After years of barely uploading content, Ian has hit rock bottom. He put out this video in May 2025 titled, "Being a YouTuber Bankrupted Me," where he discusses his recent hardships in life and debates quitting content creation.
For the time being, Innuendo Studios is taking a break. I'm not sure for how long, and there's a chance it might be permanent.
What do you mean a break? You've basically been on one already. You've put out less than 30 minutes worth of content in the past year.
But Simo says, do I remember the surfs debate? I will think about the surfs debate on my deathbed, bro. The Tale of Twin Rabbits and the surfs and Lauren debate. I'll think about that on my deathbed. Now, it won't be the most important thing that I think about, but it'll be something I think about. Where I'm just like, damn. Tale of Twin Rabbits really got his ass kicked, huh?
If anything, this guy needs to be putting out more content, since he's apparently at the edge of bankruptcy.
I have been running this channel at a loss for 7 years. And between back taxes I owe the government, a maxed out credit card that is in collections, and money I owe to a few people who've bailed me out, I have a total accumulated debt that is pushing $100,000. And I'm not going to say I'm perfect at managing money.
Yeah, no shit. How the fuck are you that much in debt with a successful YouTube channel and thousands of dollars being made each month on Patreon? Well, apparently this guy didn't know what taxes were until the age of 32. Instead of fleeing to Asia like any normal schizo, he decided to wait until his back taxes and fees reached $59,000.
Hi, Dan. I just moved in next door. I'm a supermodel.
I don't care who the IRS sends, I am not paying taxes.
Also, his credit card debt reached nearly $19,000, as I guess he spent too much money on his fedora and Funko Pop collection. Oh, and also the fact that he lives in one of the most expensive cities.
Jeb Kush says, this is why being gay sucks. Almost everyone I try to get with wants open relationships. Listen, man, I have a friend who's a gay bear, and he keeps bumping into dudes who are like, yeah, like I'm gay but conservative and I want a monogamous relationship. And he had to ask me permission. He was like, hey, a lot of progressives are, you know, anti-monogamy within the gay community. What do you think about it? And I was like, excuse me. I was like, yeah, it's okay to be monogamous. You don't have to be constantly hooking up with new people. You can just love somebody. You're allowed to just love somebody. That's actually perfectly sane and normal. And he'd been hanging out in progressive circles for so long that it was almost like a sociological faux pas to be monogamous. That's where I get into arguments with chat where they're like, oh, you're talking shit about gay promiscuity. You must be a homophobe. And I'm like, no, I'm like a promiscuity phobe, you know? And obviously, like, I had a young phase where I was going crazy, but I'm just telling you, like, gay dudes would probably be happier if you had like a young slutty phase where maybe from 18 to 22, you like fucked around and went to a few crazy parties and did this and did that. But then if you found somebody that you genuinely loved, that genuinely loved you, and you guys got along and shared similar life goals, you would probably be happier monogamous. So sorry. Like, yeah. Christian Blair says, easy to hard scale, turn, girlfriend, buy, want to have a threesome with Bonnie. God, you're just going to get herpes, Christian Blair. Like, listen, I love you and I love that you oil the community. Same thing with Grassroots Hegemon. Sometimes Grassroots Hegemon says something that's wild and promiscuous. You guys are just going to get herpes. Okay? You're just going to get herpes. All right? So have fun with that. I'm trying to make it to my deathbed without herpes. So, yeah. Grosser says the gay community is bad for that in the places that they meet at, the clubs and the bars and stuff. Men are much more difficult to date than women. Well, dude, and that's the other thing too. Like, a lot of people, they get on my ass because they're like, oh, you know, you're being so homophobic because you're talking about these stereotypes of men. Listen, man, like, I know a healthy chunk of gay dudes, and a lot of gay dudes are super promiscuous. So Sorry if I burst your bubble, but maybe chill the fuck out. How about that?
In America. But no, according to him, it's not entirely his fault. It's capitalism's fault.
Now, I want to acknowledge that some of this is my fault. The debt would not be nearly so big if I were better at budgeting, if I read my mail faster, if I had followed up about that audit. I am not purely a victim here. But also, this is a bad and broken system, and even if I played it perfectly, there is no universe where I make what I make and finish the year with 12 grand left over for the government. Not in this city, maybe not in this country.
He still hasn't grasped the concept of personal responsibility yet. Instead of getting his shit together and making videos, he'd rather spend all day watching movies and playing video games.
There's a bunch of stuff I do on Patreon that, like, I haven't even announced it here on YouTube. I've been doing it for like a year and change now. I do these little projects where, like, I have a film randomizer list. It's like a list of, this year's list is like 36 movies, where I hit shuffle on Letterboxd and watch whichever one comes up first and try to get through the whole list by the end of the year. And I write little reviews for them. Or I have like a video game cabinet, just games I'm trying to get through before the end of the year. I do a reading log.
How about you make movie reviews or gaming streams? How fucking hard could that be? It's like he'd rather sit on his ass than work on content. I bet his work schedule consists of Googling something for a video and calling it a day, before spending the next 14 hours binge-watching movies at full volume, while the IRS starts aggressively knocking on his door. Instead of actually fixing this problem himself, Ian chose to crowdfund again, managing to get $155,000 off GoFundMe. He was able to garner this incredibly quickly due to how pitiful he made himself look in the video, which was definitely intentional. He picked the lowest quality camera possible, talked in a voice more monotone than mine, and kept spouting out excuses for why he couldn't get basic work done.
I just can't take it anymore.
So, okay, I'm sorry. The funniest thing about this entire thing, so this is the main through line. I know this is probably just background noise for you guys because Rob has a monotone voice and Innuendo Studios has a monotone voice and I might have a monotone voice. But if you look at Innuendo Studios and you actually look at the content that he put out, people gave him $150,000 to cover his back taxes. Okay. And if you look at this, the alt-right playbook, The South Bank of the Rubicon, was 9 months ago and it's 8 minutes long. I'm gonna take off the wig. The wig is getting hot and itchy. I'll throw it on randomly whenever we start drawings, but I'm not gonna keep it on the entire time I'm doing drawing. Alt-right playbook was released 10 months ago with 13 minutes of content. Zone of Interest, A Litany, is 2 minutes long and was shot and released a year ago. And the whole point is that, like, this thing came up in the past like 6 months. So this guy, let's just use 1 year as an example. 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 30 minutes. Then, and this is like a media review thing too. So that's 40 minutes, 60 minutes, 66 minutes, 68 minutes, 70 minutes, 80 minutes. So he released 80 minutes of content over a year, like 2 years. 80 minutes of content. I want you to think about that. 80 minutes. Okay. And by the way, I know Counterpoints does what? She probably takes like a quarter. Realistically, if she was actually working at full capacity, she could probably take a quarter in order to highly edit a movie. But a movie for Contra, she just releases one a year now. But back when she was releasing them, they were monthly. And I think she could probably do it in a month if she really thought about how to do it correctly. So this dude did 2 months worth of work over the course of 2 years. And the audience, because they were so nostalgic for back when he used to do things, they gave him $150,000 effing dollars. That is bananas. Okay. 2 months worth of work took him 2 years. And by the way, something that he's going to bring up, which also frustrates the shit out of me, is he's got back problems. Buy a comfortable chair and work, you dumb fuck. All right, sorry. Back to the drawing.
This is just a lot of strain to put on me and to put on my family. And I've felt for a long time that like I'm on the verge of, you know, kind of like making it. Like I've been dancing around the periphery for a while, you know, back in 2020, right before COVID happened, you know, like the numbers were really doing good. The Patreon was really solid. I was making more money than I'd ever made. And it really seemed like it was going to keep heading that way. And then they just started to dip and it's never really recovered. You know, once I hurt my back and I couldn't work for a while.
I want you to think about how stupid this is. Okay, this guy probably made hundreds of thousands of dollars. And he says that he can't work because he hurt his back and because of COVID. Number one, most people were home during COVID. So that's when people most like that's when YouTube and Twitch and YouTube politics really popped off. So he's blaming COVID, a time in which more people were locked down and more people were watching YouTube than ever, as responsible for a financial downturn in his content. And then he's also blaming hurting his back. Okay? Look at this shit. This thing is probably expensive as hell, but I swear to God, $3,000. If this dude is making six figures, he can afford a $3,000 chair. All right? Same thing with this one. I'm gonna check this out. All right, well, they're not listing a price. But the whole point is that, like, for the super rich people, I have lower back pain. After 5 or 6 hours in the chair, I need to go lie down on the couch for a little bit. But this chair rotates, bro. Look at this. Look at this. It rotates into a sofa reclining position. So your monitors you can be lying down at a 3/4 angle and still work. One day, when I make it as a content creator, when grassroots oils just a little bit too much, you're going to come into stream and I'm going to be like this because I'm going to be lying down in this zero gravity gaming chair, streaming for 15 hours a day because I have no back pain. Oh my God. So the fact that this guy is like, oh, my back, oh, COVID, I can't work. The fact that lefties didn't see through this shit and they gave him 150K. I'm just gonna tell you, the left wing. I love you guys. Like a lot of you are liberals. So I'm not trying to hate on you too much. The fact that you guys gave him 150K after this video, I think you're just very, 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 very dumb. Very dumb. Oi, can we get Connor sleep streams? Yeah, sure. If you get me that chair, I'll just stay in the chair for 24 hours.
And life just got more expensive.
Aw man, his back hurt. Guess that means he can't sit on his ass all day and make YouTube videos anymore.
Oh, my back!
It's very manipulative, and Ian is very aware of that, since he's laid out his crowdfunding strategy in a previous video.
We go on crowdfunding sites and tell our stories about what we want to make and why they matter to us. People get that investment when the story is good and when they trust the person telling it. And that's what I mean about
Yeah, Batu Sai says, Innuendo Studios wants to play the Counterpoints game of having 200,000 Patreon supporters and only making one video a year. Yes. They want to be even lazier than they are now. Yes.
Campaigns living or dying on the perception of sincerity. People have to believe the story you're telling them is true. Now, there are ways to present the appearance of sincerity.
I hate you, conservative liberalism. What do you mean people gave him 150K for his back taxes? You mean that he paid his back taxes. That's a Hunter Biden deep cut reference for those of you who don't know. God, I hate you. I hate you for saying that.
Without actually being sincere. And if you want advice on how to do that, you're gonna need to talk to an ad executive. What I always tell people is that the best way to appear sincere is to be sincere.
And it worked. as much of Ian's leftist audience
Yes, test dummy human, yes.
supported him without question, including some of his breadtuber buddies like Big Joel and Philosophy Tube. A month after the GoFundMe's release, Ian would announce that he'd be going on a sabbatical. With no intent to produce content despite his audience's expectations, he might as well just tell them to go fuck themselves. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy just scammed his audience so he can go to Japan or whatever and live out his weeaboo fantasies. Either way, the situation definitely isn't over. As pointed out by Accounting in YouTube, go check him out, his videos are great. Ian might have to pay taxes on the GoFundMe money due to seemingly using it for his vacation. His audience also donated with the expectation that he continue making videos, meaning they wouldn't be counted as gifts and would have to be taxed.
Quote, contributions to crowdfunding campaigns are not necessarily a result of detached and disinterested generosity and therefore may not be.
Doobie says, how does he not have a second job if he's only made 2 hours of content over the past couple of years? I think it's because of his Patreon. I think his patrons were paying him like $5 to $6K a month. And as a result, he just sat on his dick and didn't do anything. What Innuendo Studios? Now, I know this thing can go up and down, but let's just take a look real quick. 4,200 members, 6,095 a month, dude. 6,095. So he got whatever residuals he had from his videos, because I'm sure his videos still get tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views per month. And then he's making an average of between $5 and $6 grand a month off of Patreon. He just dicked off of Patreon. Absolutely fucking insane.
Be gifts. This sentence suggests that contributions to crowdfunding campaigns can often be made with personal motives, rather than purely.
True. We got 50 people who like the stream. Like the stream, share it with your friends, engage with chat, super chats if you got it, memberships if you got them. My parasocially love you. Thank you for hanging out.
Out of selfless generosity. If this is the case, these contributions may not ethically qualify as gifts, since gifts typically imply no expectation of return or benefit.
There was supposed to be some sort of update on the situation this month, but as of editing this, nothing has happened. Well, besides him recently unlisting his update video.
First T News says, speaking of dead channels, I should add Hunter Avalone to this. I really should. I don't like being mean to Hunter because Hunter has legitimately had a tough couple of years, right? I'm going to watch this, obviously. My thoughts on Bo Blacks, a response to 40 minutes of cope and lies for an hour. I'll definitely watch that later. Black Meridian, SCP, I'll probably watch that later. But let's take a look at Hunter Avalone. So for those of you who are uninitiated, Hunter Avalone was a part of the anti-SJW sphere. And he wasn't a liberal who disliked leftists. He was a conservative. And effectively what ended up happening was he had 500,000 subs. He did skit comedy. He did this, he did that. And he switched sides politically. Like he went to the far left for a second, and then he kind of like became like a liberal or like a progressive liberal. But he lost 90% of his audience, and he lost like 90% of his audience and was starting from scratch. And then not just that, his wife left him in a way that was horrifying, where she was thinking about engaging in pornographic sex acts in order to get enough money to fund their divorce. They do have a couple of kids, and the pornographic sex acts were extreme. And then I think this girl, by the way, if he doesn't marry this girl, he's a fucking idiot. Okay. It's members only, but this is a girl. I think if this is the same girl, he started dating this girl, and this girl had like a crazy psycho ex-boyfriend, and he talked shit to him via text message. And the ex-boyfriend showed up to their house and tried to murder them. The ex-boyfriend tried to murder this girl and tried to murder Hunter. And then actually shot at them with buckshot, hit her with buckshot. She had like a buckshot BB in her leg. They ran back into their apartment. They locked their apartment. They were hanging out on the second story, thinking about jumping off the back end of the apartment complex in order to avoid a dude with a shotgun. And then the cops showed up, and they got into a gunfight with the guy, and the guy either killed himself or the cops killed him. So, like, listen, man, if he doesn't marry this girl, he's a fucking idiot. Sorry for being so mean about it. And like Hunter and I, like we're not friends or anything, but like we've been friendly in DMs. We work together for PV and all that kind of stuff. Looks like the last time he streamed was 8 months ago. Looks like the last time that he posted content was 2 months ago. And the numbers aren't good. He's basically starting from scratch. If I had advice for Hunter Avalone, because there's so many dead subs on this channel, I would start a new channel. Like I would work a normal job. I would try to max out my Patreon to the point that I was able to afford my bills. And then I would start from scratch. And I would do like Hunter Reloaded or Hunter Avalone 2.0 or Hunter Avalone. And I would effectively lead this channel up for like residual viewership. But I would start from scratch because 90% of these subs do not like your new content. So, sorry. That's a Hunter Avalone lore. Back to it.
Which I found a little strange. I hope he found the polyamorous anime waifu of his dreams the other month, cause god, he'll need it. Xander Hall is one of those breadtubers who claims to have escaped the alt-right pipeline and joined the right side of politics after self-realization.
I do love this segment. Like, Xander Hall and I are friendly, but we don't have much of a professional relationship. I do think this segment is fucking hysterical.
In reality, this dude just went on 4chan sometimes and watched anti-SJW content, which a lot of left-leaning YouTubers even made back around 2016. He started watching Destiny after the JonTron debate, and began consuming content from more and more radical creators as time went on. This dude never escaped radicalization. He just switched teams. I don't know if I would call him a grifter though. I think he's too stupid to do that effectively.
I learned that this hadn't just happened to me, it was happening to millions of teenage.
I don't think Nick likes me. They're like, when's the Nick Diorio collaboration? I don't think Nick likes me. I don't think it's anything like incredibly personal. I don't think he like knows me or cares about me or anything like that. But I think he was aware of. As a matter of fact, I don't think Chud likes me anymore, which is kind of sad. But that's okay. That's okay. That's internet for you. But I think just like continuing to hang out and associate with Destiny and just being kind of transparent about the way that I was thinking about it. I think he really, really, really hates Destiny. So I just don't think there's anything there. Unfortunate. I'm actually a fan. I've mentioned this multiple times. I'm a fan of Chud Logic. I'm sometimes a fan of Queeman. I think they made excellent drama content. And then if I'm not bumping Chud Logic or Queeman before I go to bed, then I'm bumping Nick Diorio. It's like the perfect, mindless, kind of similar to this content. Let's be real. Like I'm trying to upend this content by showing you the orbits, but it's like the perfect, stupid content where you can just find somebody on the internet that you kind of don't like and just listen to somebody make fun of them for a few hours. It's great to go to sleep to, because it's not so important that you want to. It's important. It's not important. It's entertaining enough to listen to. But it's not so entertaining that if you pass out or fall asleep, you're going to be like, damn, I really wanted to finish that piece of content. It's just great slop. It's great slop. I'm going to put Hunter Avalone in here as a Vosh orbiter, even if it's not technically accurate, because he did have this like weird moment where he left the conservative area and he went onto the Vosh stream a couple of times. And he kind of seemed to be, I don't know, like hanging out with socialists and giga progressives and kind of aping their talking points for a little bit, which I actually think is like how he lost the majority of his audience. He jumped way too far left. If he had shifted to like a centrist or shifted to like liberal, I don't think he would have lost all of his audience. I think it's because he jumped super far left and then kind of moderated a little bit. I think that's why he lost 90%. Sorry, let me pull up the content again.
Teenagers and just young people across the world. Ironically enough, it was like I had taken the real red pill. I found more channels such as Sean and Jen,
Dude, I hate Xander Hall's sentence right now so much. I cannot explain to you how much I hate this sentence. And it's because of something that Chud Logic said. So Chud Logic said that ultimately at the end of the day, if you look at Western politics, it's all liberal. right? We might be, or some people might be socialist, some people might be fascist, some people might be anarchist, some people might be this, some people might be that. But ultimately, we are all fighting for power within the liberal, democratic, Republican system. And so pretending that just by consuming certain branches of internet content that you are doing politics is insane cope. And I actually agree with him. I think 99% of the energy in Twitch and YouTube politics is wasted. I think it's just consuming different kinds of content. And I don't think it could be better illustrated than what Xander Hall just said, where he was consuming one style of content, which was dissident right-wing content via 4chan, via 8chan, via Minecraft servers, via this, via that. He was consuming one style of content, and then he shifted to consuming a different style of content, which was just like anarcho-socialist, libertarian socialist content. His life didn't change. He wakes up, he eats food, maybe. He goes on stream for 3 or 4 hours. He engages with the internet for another like 8 hours that he's conscious. Then he goes to sleep. Then he wakes up and he does it again. His life has not materially changed, and his impact on the exterior world has not changed. The only reason why I think I can correctly claim like a quote unquote conservative lifestyle is because it takes so much effort to run a family, to be a husband, to not even be a good husband, just to be a husband takes energy. And I have to intentionally pursue being a good husband, being a good father. I like to think I'm a good father. Being a good father takes time, energy, intent, discipline. And so I'm not just working, I'm also taking the money that I earn, and I'm not just consuming a different kind of content. I'm trying to implement my ideology into the real world. I'm trying to live my ideology as aggressively as I can, even though I fail in it constantly. And so that's where, for me, like if you're at home and you're just kind of like a passive internet consumer, I kind of want to challenge you to start living your ideology a bit. If you're a polyamorous, promiscuous person who thinks that everybody should be polyamorous, but you've been single for the past 5 years, number one, I think you're an arsler. But number two, go do it. Go to the club, go date some people, become a part of a polycule, see how it works out. It's probably going to blow up in your face, but at least you would have executed your ideology. If you're a libertarian, you know, we got grassroots, we got patriarch or whatever. If you're a libertarian, then no offense, something that a lot of libertarians argue is that the private market is able to overcome community issues and collective issues. Well, find a collective issue like stray dogs in your community and help solve that problem. Help solve that collective issue through voluntary behavior, so on and so forth. Otherwise, you're just a dickhead consuming content.
Points, Dusty Smith, H Bomber Guy, Claudia Brown, and many more.
Originally going by Pig Puncher, Xander would suck up to a lot of the big breadtubers and
quick correction to Nick DiOrio. Nick DiOrio was saying that Xander Hall used the pseudonym Pig Puncher because he wanted to say that he was so far left that he would punch cops. I think that's probably true, but Xander Hall's claim is that that was actually a Minecraft reference where he was known for punching pigs to death in Minecraft. I don't know what's true. I don't care what's true. I just wanted to bring up that that's Xander Hall's narrative about his pseudonym.
inherit their talking points. He has an obvious savior complex, thinking that he and his pals are the ones who are going to save America from fascism.
Fuck me.
Though, just like Innuendo Studios, Xander Hall is too retarded to have any meaningful impact. He infamously stored all of his money in his PayPal and Steam account, tweeting out that someone hacked one of them and siphoned all of his money.
Shouldn't your bank be able to intervene in situations like this? I don't know.
Conservative liberalism says, how dare you suggest Hunter Avlon, the person who mindlessly grifted as a conservative, then swung 180 degrees direction, is an idiot. Listen, I want to be nice. Hunter's been nice to me. I want to be nice to him. I actually care about him to some degree on a personal level where I hope he gets his shit together. I think his personal life has taken a huge hit. I want his personal level life to do better. But yeah, I do think that when you're an 18-year-old YouTube content maker, you can hyperbolically go in one political direction, then you can wake up in your middle to late 20s and be like, huh, I actually don't know shit about fuck. And then you desperately cling to a new ideology looking for like a sense of change and purpose. And that can obviously have really bad effects for your profitability. To be honest, that's kind of why I don't like Dave Smith. People don't like Hunter Avallone because he changed too much too fast without thinking about it. I don't like Dave Smith because he hasn't changed since he was 15.
I use a bank. I use PayPal.
What? He doesn't have a debit card or a credit card.
What?
Wait, how does he buy things? Wait, he buys things through PayPal?
Boblox is asking all the real questions here. Maybe this guy has to ask the cashier at the grocery store for a PayPal username to acquire his weekly rations. A couple of months later, he complained about a System32 error corrupting a $6,000 computer, begging his Twitter followers for help. My question is, what does this guy need a 6K PC for? All he does is ramble on stream for 3 hours a day. And the cherry on top? Xander Hall's girlfriend, Lonnie, was using his money to buy meth. She had also been cheating on him with her dealer, both of them getting arrested for having drugs in their car. She'd make a...
Okay. I'm not defending Lonnie's honor. I really don't care. I just want to tell you the narrative real quick. So the narrative is that Lonnie, which by the way, you can hear Lonnie in a Destiny conversation. So there was Destiny and Xander Hall were debating about whether or not Destiny should burn the Vosh bridge when they had a falling out where Vosh's community was a part of the mass reporting flagging that got him in trouble with Twitch. And so Destiny was like, hey man, Vosh came out in my community. Vosh came, Vosh and I have had a collaborative relationship for a long time. The fact that he actively tried to screw me over or community members actively tried to screw me over is enough for me to not want to talk to him ever again. And Xander Hall was in the chat arguing about, well, don't burn the bridge. It's good content. Not only is it good content, you guys could be friends, this, that, the other. And Destiny wasn't really having it. Well, Lonnie was jumping into chat and talking smack about Destiny. And so Destiny was like, hey, who's Lonnie in your chat? Because she's an F and XYZ ABC. She can go F herself. And then Xander Hall was like, hey, chill out, bro. Don't talk smack about my girlfriend. And then Destiny kept talking smack and nothing really happened. So that's kind of where, like, if you're going to say don't talk smack about my person, then you kind of need to have like some kind of follow through or ability to have follow through, or if it feels kind of meek or weak. Well, anyways, Lonnie's narrative, Lonnie's perspective is that she started dating Xander Hall. They moved cross country in together. Xander Hall was so obsessed with the stream and so obsessed with everything that he kind of neglected her, didn't pay attention to her, this, that, the other. She was a homemaker. And she was, taking care of their apartment, cleaning stuff up, taking care of their pets, this, that, the other. But realistically, he was so distant that eventually she got a job cleaning houses. And then eventually she kind of like drifted away emotionally, drifted away physically, drifted away, this, that, the other. And then she was doing drugs. I don't know if it was meth, but one of the guys that she was hanging out with after work did get caught with meth. And so she ended up incarcerated. And then Xander Hall found out that she was stealing his money by hiding PayPal transactions. And she had probably stolen thousands of dollars over the course of months. And so when she got incarcerated, he broke up with her, blocked her, stopped talking to her, presumed that she had been disloyal physically with one of the guys that she was hanging out with, and then told her to F herself, and then effectively kicked her out of the apartment. There's probably a few details in there that are wrong, but Lonnie is trying to argue that her theft and her alleged infidelity and her drug use didn't come out of nowhere. It actually came out of months or years of them not being on the same page. Sounds like I have a meaner thing to say, but I'll keep it to myself.
Twit longer, accusing Xander Hall of neglect, along with being a lazy slob who begs his mommy for vapes and weed cartridges. This led to him putting her on full blast, showing off her arrest for all to see. As you can tell, Xander Hall isn't the smartest with his finances.
Kay says, why would you marry somebody with such awful past discernment? I'd run. Number one, she was with that, the ex-boyfriend, the psycho ex-boyfriend. We're talking about Hunter Avallone right now. That girl was with the ex-boyfriend for like 8 years, like loyal to like an abusive ex-boyfriend. And I understand that like people might view that as some kind of like weird traumatic thing, some weird kind of drama thing or whatever. But I view that as like a virtue that has been co-opted for a terrible thing. I view loyalty as like a really high virtue. So the fact that she had that level of virtue to such a psychopath, I think that just probably means that she's a good person. She's probably a kind person. She also put herself physically, she saw her boyfriend walking up to their house with a shotgun, and she put herself physically between Hunter Avalon and her boyfriend. She could have been killed. She could have been cut down with a shotgun, and then Hunter could have been cut down with a shotgun, and both of them would have been dead. She willingly put herself in harm's way to save her partner. You can't buy that kind of loyalty. You can go an entire lifetime looking for a human being that is moral enough and brave enough to do that kind of thing. You could live an entire lifetime with a human being and not realize that they are not that kind of person. And yet she proved herself to be that loyal, that self-sacrificial. She could probably have 10,000 things wrong with her. She could probably be a total trauma case. She could be a total psycho. I still think that those are extremely virtuous characteristics that are worthy of praise, worthy of admiration, and worthy of mutual loyalty. So yeah, like she could be a total basket case. That wouldn't mean that she didn't demonstrate in two separate directions things that I find morally impressive.
Which has made many question why they should be listening to him for socioeconomic
Light of Exer says, I'm proud that all I've ever given is larger donations to either small creators or charity drives. Cool.
opinions, or anything else at this point. I mean, this guy struggles with basic IQ tests.
So it's got to be one with 3 in it. And what pattern are they going into? It's over to the right, down.
Well, let's see if we can answer this question. Exercise 1.5. I have no idea what's going on. This is like an IQ test. Okay, so we have the direction, the rotation. Okay, so it goes 1, 2, 3. Then it's a repeating pattern 1, 3, 2. 1, 2. I would say it was 3. And I would say that it was a rotation because it seems like they all rotate in direction. Oh, and then it would have to complete the thing. So let's take a look here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2. And then what goes here? 1, 2. Okay, 1, 2. Oh, and then it's also 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Maybe it's a 2? Is there a 2 available that's a rotation? That's a 2 that's a rotation. I would go with B. Or weirdly enough, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 2. 1, 3. Damn, I actually hate this question. I don't even hate Xanderhall for getting this wrong. And the rotations of the triangles has to be something too. Because the rotations of the triangles has to be different. So it probably has to be different. So that's down, that's side, that's up. That's side, that's up, that's side. That's down, that's side, that's side. So it either has to be up or down. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I would probably go with B. I would either go with like B or F. Or A. I would go with everything except for the side ones. So I actually have no idea. So somebody, y'all could tell me in chat which one's correct. I actually don't begrudge Xanderhall having difficulty with this one. This one's tough.
Then to the left, up, right, down, left.
Oh, hold on. How many ones are there? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And there we need a third. So it's a 3. For me, it's definitely a 3. Oh, and then they probably only repeat once. So this is down, up, down. Oh no, they repeat that way. Side, side, up. This is side, side. I don't know, bro. I don't know. This question sucks. Somebody tell me in chat. Maybe I'm an arsler.
Left, up 3. F. I'm going really quickly on this one, guys, so...
Yeah, maybe don't be hitting a weed pen during an IQ test. Grassroots for 50 says, have some money. I found it in Xander Hall's PayPal account. Thanks, bro. Thanks.
Wait, is stream dead? Why are people effing? Why are people effing?
Okay, that one was obviously white. This one's obviously white. So we would just have to figure out the direction on it.
Wait, is stream dead? Why are people effing? Why are people effing? Oh, are they saying the answer was F? Because I got it wrong? I don't know how I got that one wrong. Guys, I'm really bad at tests like this, especially under time, especially with 355 people watching me do it.
I know these tests are shit, but hearing all of his different coping methods were hilarious. He blames his low score on a variety of
Thanks, Tank Jesus. Apparently I'm your bedtime routine. That's nice.
different shit in order to swerve off the embarrassment.
Oh god, that's not good. That's not a good IQ right there. That's
Oh, nice. Eli is saying that Occupy Democrats has employed him. That's interesting. I mean, I would keep your personal shit going. That way, if you get fired or dismissed or whatever, then you could have your own thing going. So if he threw all of his eggs into Occupy Democrats, I mean, I hope they gave him a stable job, but oh, here you go. Here's Hunter. One day ago, 200,000 views. Okay. Okay. He's not totally lost in the sauce. That's good news. But I would still side hustle your own shit in case you get fired. That's just me.
That's a slightly below average IQ right there. That's about what I expected. Yeah, that's about what I expected. I'm yelling at my mom right now. Hold on. Now I'm depressed. Who sent me that test? I'm permabanning them. Does anyone remember who sent me the test so I can permaban them? Because now I feel shit about myself. IQ has been severely debunked by every leading psychological theory of intelligence.
Blood123 says, how do communists live their values in values of a communist society? I would say that you need to move into a community. So somebody's asking this question, and I think that this is unironically true. So what communists believe, as far as I understand, is that they want to live in a moneyless, stateless, classless society, but they're trapped in a communist hellscape, right? But the fundamental philosophical statement, and sorry, this is from Bud123, and I think this is a really good question, is from each according to his ability, to each according to his means. And that's like a fundamental communist precept. And so what I would say is, if you think that that is good for all of society, you need to start living that on a micro level. So even if you had a few roommates, let's say that, I don't know, you have a girlfriend. Let's say that you're a communist and you have a girlfriend and she steals money from you and you have an option to prosecute her and throw her in jail or not. I think you need to say, damn, capitalism and drugs really drove her to the edge. I need to help her. Even though she hurt me, I need to help her. I need to help her get where she needs to go. I need to make sure that she's getting educated. I need to make sure that her basic needs are met. I need to make sure that she does this. I need to make sure that she does that. And I need to push her to be a better person every single day and to think communally. That way, if I'm in trouble, she can help me out. And so what I find, though, is that communists will oftentimes argue for from each according to his ability and each according to his means, as long as the state is doing it. But on a personal level, if you ask them to sacrifice some of their hard-earned effort, some of their hard-earned cash, some of their hard-earned social status, they turn into capitalists real quick. They turn into liberals real quick. They're communists on a systemic level. They personally cannot sacrifice a portion of themselves for the whole. And so, yeah, community food banks, community food drives, live in a commune, take care of your roommates, all that bullshit. So, yeah, I think a lot of communists are LARPers.
Intelligence, I know it has, but it still feels like shit. That's true. All an IQ test tells you is how good you are at taking an IQ test. Watch the Adam Ruins Everything episode about it. That's what we'll do.
And by the way, this is like total cope for me because IQ might not be like a predictive thing, but it's a correlative thing. Like, does IQ correlate with good life outcomes? Does IQ correlate with good life outcomes? Yes, IQ is positively correlated with a wide range of good life outcomes, including higher income, greater educational attainment, better physical and mental health, and increased longevity. While IQ is a strong predictor of success for large groups, it's a complex relationship and doesn't guarantee individual outcomes. That's where saying that like IQ has nothing to do with reality, I think that perspective is also incredibly stupid.
After the segments, we're gonna watch the Adam Ruins Everything episode about the IQ test, so I don't feel like shit anymore. Also, I'm starving. If I'd eaten, probably, to be fair.
Yeah, don't starve yourself before you take an IQ test, and also don't smoke weed while taking the IQ test.
I will say this. It has been shown that when you're not hungry, you perform better on tests, and I have not eaten today, and I'm starving right now.
I guess his PayPal didn't work at the grocery store that day. He gets pissed at his mommy for
Bill Coffee, hey buddy, good to see you. $20. Glad to be able to watch live to know I got my poly pass, lol. True. Might differ on degrees, but 100% with Connor that poly peoples need to chill, build something stable, and start a family. Arslers just want to be kids forever. Thank you, Phil. You are the one good polycule that I know.
lying to him about his intelligence, eventually calling her on stream to debate her on it.
Listen, guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I took an IQ test and I was in like 4th grade, my mom refused to tell me the answer. She told me it's because my score was really high and I'd like make fun of people for having.
Also, dude, this might be true, but this is not the kind of thing that I would talk about on stream. If I was like, hey guys, I actually think I'm legitimately a dumbass and my mom lied to me about how smart I was, I'm just going to be real. I wouldn't talk about that on stream. Grassroots $10 says, I actually think if your boyfriend doesn't have a debit card or bank card at 23, it's an affirmative moral good to rob them. Jeez, you get that meth, homegirl, you earned it. Yo. Mean. I might disavow. I probably don't disavow. Yeah, I think you'd... Listen, man, you can go to a credit union, you can go to a bank, you can figure it out. And especially after this, if you don't have it figured out, you need to figure it out.
Lower score than me. I think it was probably because my fucking score was low, okay?
Yeah, well, QC John says Xander Hall's greatest moment was debating Lauren Southern on a kid's book she wrote and he never read. He was the left tube's strongest soldier that day, lol. Dude, yeah, so listen, man. So there's marketing, right? There's marketing to this job. This job is partially and I'm doing a poor job of it, by the way. Part of the marketing is going out there and mixing it up and throwing elbows with big personalities. So people are like, dang, like that guy was kind of a douchebag, but I want to check out his content real quick. Like, dude, that's how we grow. That's how we've grown this community. That's how the community will probably continue to grow. So I need to be more aggressive about it. But don't debate a topic that you haven't prepared for, man. That's just like an instant L. What are you doing?
But IQ tests are not an accurate measure of...
Lonnie said it wasn't meth. Sorry. I know I'm jumping all over the place and I'm being ADD and we're getting like 5 seconds of content before I interrupt to engage with chat. So I'm sorry to the listening experience for the VOD viewers. However, Jonah Boy says, apparently she had a whole meth lab in the apartment. At least that's what Xander Hall said. That's what Xander Hall said. Lonnie said that it was a distillation for DMT that you can do at home. And Xander Hall is the one who showed her how to distill DMT. But maybe if you're breaking up with your boyfriend, getting evicted from an apartment, maybe if the way that you've gotten groceries over the past 12 months is hiding your boyfriend's PayPal transactions in order to steal enough money to support yourself, maybe if that's going on, maybe consuming methamphetamine and or consuming DMT should not be a high priority. Maybe you should focus on something else. Just personal advice from me to you.
Intelligence, anyway. You lied to me when I was a kid. My IQ is below average. What the fuck? Listen, I took an IQ test on stream and I got a 97. That is my IQ.
Who's smoking pot?
I've smoked weed 3 times and I don't like it.
Since late 2022, Xander Hall has been burning almost every single bridge he's built of other creators. Most notably, Shoe on Head.
Paul says, everybody said F. The row column needs to be upward in 3 dots. Okay. Okay. Listen, guys, I'll take an IQ test off of stream, and then if I do well, I'll bring it back. But I do have a Stanford Benet. I do have a Stanford Benet from middle school that is 132, and I'm just going to pretend that that was correct in perpetuity.
During the Balenciaga controversy, which I've covered in multiple other videos now. Another one of these connections was with Demon Mama, who in July 2024 leaked his Discord DMs of his editor, Cherry. He was withholding payments in fear of going homeless or moving back in with his mom, knowing either way that he'd lose access to weed privileges. Okay, so I think I am fucked. Still no.
You know, the 2 monitors are on the ground right now. I haven't done it. This is the funniest moment, by the way. This is the funniest moment, and I actually think Xander Hall is kind of hilarious in this moment. I do not indict Xander Hall for this. I'll tell you why it's stupid. I'll tell you why I think it's funny.
No money and still does not show as pending in my bank account. Okay, the number was wrong, confirmed. The 4K went to some rando. It has to be stopped. Cherry, ASAP, emergency, fuck, homeless, I am now homeless, Cherry, why, answer now, please, I'm going to be homeless, Cherry, I have never been paid by Progressive Victory before, according to all my bank info, not ever before, Cherry, answer now, I will be homeless starting tomorrow, Cherry. Okay, we are buying my plane ticket back to California now. Thank you for completely ghosting me tonight. I'll never forget it. Never. The only way to save me is for Progressive Victory to pay me everything they owe me. I have never received a single payment, not one. I am fucked. Cherry, answer now. Cherry, you have fucking killed me. They eventually talk, and Cherry complains about Xander Hall not paying her.
Okay, so hold on. Let me tell you why that's funny, and let me tell you why I don't hate Xander Hall for that. So, Cherry's working for him as an editor, whatever, and she's on my mind map. The reason why I think that's funny is because it was like 2 a.m, okay? And I do blame Xander Hall way more than I blame anybody else, okay? Number 1, shouldn't keep your shit in a PayPal. Number 2, if somebody was paying you, I don't know what the $4,000 that PV owed Xander Hall, I don't know what the rate at which that is paid, because it does say in the DMs like, oh, they have to pay me everything that they owe me. They've never paid me. Okay. But if you're a broke socialist or a broke communist or whatever, and you're barely making bills, you're barely surviving with your online career, and somebody was paying you $500 a month or $1,000 a month for political consultation, how do you go for 3 or 4 months without noticing that you didn't get paid? How? And the truth is, you probably did notice you weren't getting paid. You just were like, oh, it's some paperwork snafu. I'll figure it out later. Okay. And then when you figure out that it's a paperwork snafu, and you figure out that somebody who over the course of, I don't know, let's say it was $500 a month. So that would be 2 months for $1,000. It would be 8 months. If you have 8 months of back pay, or if you have 4 months of back pay, and you're moving out, why wouldn't that be a super high priority for you to make sure that it was unfucked? And why would you outsource unfucking $4,000 worth of revenue that you're reliant on in order to secure your housing? Why wouldn't that be something that you would double check and triple check? And I think that's like the problem that I have with the scenario is I don't hate Xander Hall. I obviously have my beefs with him. I obviously can criticize his ideology. I obviously criticize the way that he lives his life. But I think the main thing that I criticize him is being a stoner who let everything get out of control and didn't stop and say, I believe in a certain political ideology. My political ideology is okay with the way that I live my life, but my life is a fucking disaster. And really bad shit has happened that was technically within my realm of control. And I've paid terrible consequences for it. Maybe I need to reevaluate not just my personal life, but also my political ideology. And it seems like that hasn't happened. It seems like he's just willing to hold on to something that's not working as it's smashing him into the fucking ground. And that's my biggest criticism of Xander Hall, is he's willing to go down with the ship, and it's a dumb ship. It was a terribly designed ship. That's my biggest issue with Xander Hall. And right here, why do you think I won't pay you? You didn't last month. Okay. So here, Chud Logic is pretty capitalist. He's pretty aggressive about this, where he's saying like, hey, if you can't afford to pay your editor, then you basically need to tell them like, hey, I can't afford to pay you. You need to fuck off and do your own work, but you technically owe those people back pay. I agree with all of that. But I've also had peak and trough months that I've worked out with my editor, Taze, Travis. I have not paid Travis what he deserves. I've paid Danabo what he deserves. I have not paid Travis what he deserves. But Travis and I, number one, I think we're boys. I think we're legitimately good friends. Number two, when we peak, I pay him. When we trough, I explain it to him, and he's chill with it. Right? So it is what it is. But I think that's another thing where if you're not communicating with your coworkers about what's going on, that's a huge issue too. And I think it's more indicative of Xander Hall letting shit slide until it explodes.
He challenges her on this and says he's not Keffals. Cherry begs to differ. You talk about wanting people to die a lot. A lot of people need to die, to be honest. I hate all of them, Cherry. I want all of them to die. I would kill
This is based, by the way.
Keffals in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even shoot her. I'd beat her to death with the gun. You're not in a good mental state. I will kill her. What's her address?
Doge is dead and it failed its job. Yup.
I want it. I want to know where she's at. She's in Ireland. It's not public. Please stop. You're spiraling. Someone has to die for this. I will never be happy until someone has died for this. Ideally Keffals and Velvet and her fucking orbiters. I have to kill her. Really kill her. Stop her heart. Xand, fucking stop. Calm down. Stop. Stop. Please. Okay. In May, following the release of Innuendo Studios' video, Xander Hall would make a response, basically piggybacking off of it.
Based.
For a TLDR, he's broke, he's starving, and he needs your money now.
Let us move on, but first I gotta update the dono goal to reflect the generous, singular donation we've gotten so far. Thank you for the $5, guys. I appreciate it. Looks like I'm gonna have to make those groceries last this week.
Speaking of which, like the stream, share it with your friends, engage with chat, super chats if you got them, memberships if you got them. Fell Runner, Test Dummy, Grassroots again, Philip Coffee, and Grassroots. Thank you for your super chats and or support. Oh, man. That's a tough one.
All right.
This was 2 hours into the stream, by the way. It took him that long to make $5. At this point, I just quit. But I guess we're not as mentally strong as Xander Hall.
So that is not.
Keep in mind, by the way, most progressive content creators such as myself, and I'm pretty sure Innuendo Studios as well, don't take sponsorships. I've taken one sponsorship ever, and it was because they're the one company that offered to send me a free sample of the product without even agreeing to the sponsorship before I accept.
Okay, here's another objection. I know I'm doing lots of objections during the Xander Hall segment, but I actually do care about this. If Hassan Piker is doing Raid Shadow Legends shit, nobody gives a fudge about 100 viewer or 300 viewer, whatever Xander Hall was at the time. Nobody cares about a 300 viewer taking a sponsorship. Nobody cares. Take the sponsorship, take the money, take the support, take the super chats, take the Oilers, take this, take that. Do whatever you need to do. If Hassan Piker can buy a $2 million house in West Hollywood and drive a $250,000 car as a socialist, you can take a Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship. It's okay. And then same thing. What is it? The Second Thought? Second Thought is a Marxist, Leninist, revolutionary, socialist propagandist, and his second channel is test driving supercars. Nobody cares if Raid Shadow Legends pays you $200 for doing a promo code promotion where you shield to your audience to get them to buy into your channel so you could afford groceries this month. Please, for the love of God. They do the "yet you live in society" meme. I'll spread awareness meme. Yet you live in society meme. Lean into that if you're a socialist, okay? I criticize Hassan Piker because it seems like he is not a peasant with a bundle of sticks on his back, although I oftentimes want to call him a bundle of sticks. He is a guy in a castle, okay? And yet he acts like he has no capacity to affect society. So that's my objection to Hassan, is he pretends that he's this guy. Xander Hall is this guy, okay? Xander Hall is sickly and skinny and probably would have difficulty carrying a bundle of sticks. Xander Hall can take the sponsorship. All right. And then I'll spread awareness meme, or I'll spread the word meme. Oh my God, is this it? Oh no. So the same artist did one where he took the king in the castle who was sitting on gold. It's the same meme format. And the king says we should improve society somewhat. And the people down in the courtyard are like, hey, you have all the money and the wealth. How are you going to help us change society? And then he looks back at his pile of gold and he says, I'll spread awareness. That's Hassan Piker.
We don't do that most of the time. You could argue we should, but trust me, the broader online left would not let us get away with it, and we would take a much bigger hit to our viability as creators in the long run if we did take sponsorship.
I do love Demon Mama, Nick Diorio's, and Chud Logic's reading of that series of messages. I did enjoy it all. And by the way, I wouldn't even shoot her. I would beat her to death with the gun. I think that's hilarious. My wife and I quote that to each other like all the time. We're like, I don't even like that guy. If I had to kill them, I wouldn't even shoot them. I would beat him to death with the gun. My wife and I say that to each other. It's a great quote.
Fundamentally, we have to rely on fan support in order to not come off as
Raycon. People were like, hey, what's the headphones thing? Raycon.
Disingenuous in what we stand for. We are shooting ourselves in the foot when we take easy opportunities to become more financially stable and successful, because to an extent, there is a cultural expectation in the online left that if you're a progressive, you're not exactly rolling in the money, you're not taking easy.
Unless you're Hassan Piker or Second Thought. I need a water refill. I'll be right back. And by the way, you guys are slacking. I caught up with chat. I hope you guys are vibing and having a good time. So, you don't have to be like, oh, Connor, let's talk about Bonnie Blue. I don't want to talk about Bonnie Blue, okay? I'm just saying, I caught you in chat. Like the stream, share it with your friends, engage with chat, super chats. If you got them, memberships, if you got them, my parasocial love you. Let's keep it going. I'm probably going to watch, truth be told, today. I think you guys are craving some debate content. So I'm probably going to finish the Xander Hall segment, and then I might watch the Vosh segment. And then after that, we're going to find some debate content. And then another day, I'll do the Keffel segment and the DJ Mule segment. And then we'll find some more debate content. So let's talk about Hunter Avalon. Damn, Patriarch, that's vicious. And for those of you who don't know, that's just because I super sanitized the Hunter Avalon details. Hunter Avalon's divorce is fucking brutal. Oh, let's talk about Hunter Biden. Oh, okay. Well, QC says, we here in the COG do not vibe, good sir. We are the vibe. All right. That's true. All right, I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna grab some water. I'll be right back.
Easy money payoffs that might be somewhat principally against what you stand for, and I think that's a good thing.
I'm glad you have those principles, Xander Hall. I hope they serve you well when you're living in an alleyway, begging pedestrians for spare change in order to buy more vape cartridges. Just take the established title sponsorship. It's not like you actually have morals, dude. You threaten to kill people over petty gay disagreements. Xander Hall's main contribution to this discussion is to present his schizo conspiracy theories about YouTube's algorithm working against leftist YouTubers. To him, it's not his fault for his content not doing well. It's the platform for not promoting him well enough.
From Yasuke Vermeulen in chat says, have you considered making better content? must be the viewer's fault. You are clearly a conservative in chat to concern troll. And I'll actually use you as an argument before we finish up the segment. Like I said before, you will deal with people like these constantly anytime you try to acknowledge this. The right doesn't want there to be a conversation on the left about the fact that, like, algorithms objectively work the way they do, and if the left is going to reach a broader audience, then like the audiences have to engage. They want to try and turn your audience against you when you have that conversation by saying, oh, well, why don't you just make better content? Doesn't matter how good the content is. Like, algorithms work the way they do.
This is something he's doubled down on in a recent stream, claiming that YouTube A/B test for thumbnails has been secretly applied to videos for the past 5 years.
What's going on here? What's going on? Well, I have a theory. If you're a content creator or you watch YouTube, you might have heard of a phrase called A/B testing. A/B testing means you're just testing thing A against thing B, and thing B against thing A, trying to see which of the two.
Okay, realistically, I don't care about the rest of this, which is effectively Xander Hall's having a rough go of it. The A/B testing, I think, is silly. I think you're consistently, as a YouTuber, you're always being A/B tested, in which people are comparing your current content versus your older content. They're seeing how much your current subscribers are engaging with it. They're seeing how much new subscribers are engaging with it. I think you're constantly being algorithmically tested. So anything that was true when Xander Hall was doing better is probably true now. And by the way, guys, like I'm just going to say it. My VOD viewership is not as strong as I want it to be. My live streams are great. We got 100 to 150 people. People are passionate. They're engaged. They have fun. Yeah, some days are better than others, but realistically, I think we have a great live stream environment. The VODs are not where I want them to be because VODs either do really well or they suck shit. And so I have to assume that I'm not as good or as entertaining or as funny as I think I am to VOD viewers. I might not be as good of a streamer as I think I am. So that's why I haven't built in like a super organic, passionate VOD viewer audience. But guess what? That's something that we have to improve over time. It's something that I just have to get. I have to get better and better at the job. Whereas with Xander Hall, if he's only streaming 3 hours a day, 4 to 5 days a week, I have other responsibilities. I have a Star Wars channel. I have a sci-fi channel. I have a 40K channel that brings in revenue. I also side hustle on other shit. So I have other things that bring in money. But to my knowledge, Xander Hall only has the one thing. If he only has the one thing, then he needs to increase streamer hours. He needs to figure out what his live chat likes. He needs to engage in whatever behavior or jokes or memes or community building that his live chat likes. And then he needs to make sure that his VOD viewers show up. And that's it. If that's your whole job, like I have excuses. Somebody said you got to make shorts. If your whole job is one channel, I got 4 channels. If your whole job is one channel, you need to put your whole fucking ass into it. And if you're only doing it 20 to 30 hours a week, you once again, I got to credit Chud Logic, even if he doesn't like me on a personal level. He said, if you put in part-time hours, you can only expect a part-time income. And I think that's true. I think that's true. I think if you want to be a streamer, if you want to be a YouTuber, part-time work is only going to get a part-time income. And if you want a full-time income, you got to put in full-time hours. It's just that simple. Oh, why is the volume off?
Originally going by Irish Laddie, Vosh came from Destiny's community, but he was basically kicked out after sexually harassing an autistic girl named Poppy. Standard behavior for Vosh, though I'm sure Destiny only disavowed him to remove competition and be the only sex pest.
Fashion 40 says, or they can get a job. And by the way, I know Steven doesn't care, but this picture is devastating, okay? Steven doesn't care. But if I had a black friend named Abba, and if I was in an open relationship, and I had painted my hair blue, and my wife was salsa dancing with a black gentleman behind me while I was engaging with stream, This is a devastating photo. This would hurt my feelings. I know Steven doesn't care. I know he doesn't care. But like, this picture hurts my feelings, and I'm not even in the picture. Oh, man. Brutal clip.
DGG. Vosh would go on to emulate.
If ABBA was like, hey, yeah, Melina, let's salsa dance on stream, or like, hey, Victoria, let's salsa dance on stream, I'd be like, no, fuck off.
Destiny's content, rivaling him as the internet's biggest debate bro. He would debate anyone on anything, using some of the strangest tactics to win arguments. A favorite of mine being his debate with Ethan Ralph and Flamenco, where he uses a tactical gamer word.
You know who else didn't consider Slavs white back then? Everyone.
You realize they were N-words in the SS.
Dude, thanks, Bud123. I appreciate you. Lauren says, Lauren apparently is our news updater. 2 pardoned January 6 rioters were arrested last week. Andrew Johnson was charged with essay of an 11-year-old. John Banulos was charged with kidnapping and aggravated assault. They are quote-unquote patriots. Thanks for the news update, Lauren. Keep it going.
You can just say news.
Whew. Wow.
Oh,
that's a little bit hot for me,
oh,
but-
God. Oh, oi.
Oh, he said the N-word with an ER right there.
Mate. Oh, he said the word. Oh, God.
I got him. I broke his brain.
In another debate with Destiny, they argue about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, where Vosh compares the situation to all the Marvel movies he's seen.
It really depends. Okay, I have to defend Vosh here. Okay, I was hoping that when we were reviewing the Rittenhouse debate, we would get to the segment, but you guys know I like to yap, so I yapped for too long, and we didn't get to it. I think Vosh is being serious for the first half, and then I think he makes a sarcastic comment that everybody thinks is actual and literal, and I think he was making a joke. Check it out.
In the context there and how legitimate the lethal threat is, I do believe that. I think that there's a lot of nuance there. But all I know is I've seen a lot of Marvel movies, and in the part where the good guy gets framed and he turns around and there are a bunch of angry cops and civilians staring at him, he drops the gun and puts his hand up in the air, and he doesn't fucking unleash the fucking Iron Man laser and cut down 300 people who are threatening him implicitly by surrounding him and not allowing him free access out. So,
okay. So this is where I think Vosh is being serious, that there's a moral argument here. Kyle Rittenhouse has an AR-15, and the people who were chasing him down, I don't think were trying to detain him. I think they were trying to kick his ass. But let's say that they all surrounded Kyle Rittenhouse, and they either had him at gunpoint or had him at, like, they were putting their hands in front of him, and they're saying, no, you can't run any further. You need to, turn yourself into law enforcement. And then Kyle Rittenhouse had just gunned them all down. I think that would be morally equivalent to what Vosh is arguing, and I don't think it's analogous to the situation, but I do understand that he's trying to make a real moral argument that just because people are detaining you does not mean that killing them is the morally right thing to do, even if it's in self-defense. Now, here is where I think that he's going to make a sarcastic point, but people are going to take it as serious.
Maybe
well,
that's
in real life, if you spend a lot of time on Live Leaks or Ogrish or any other like gore site, you can see that where one guy throws his hands up and a mob comes up and somebody throws one punch that kills him, and then people cut his intestines out and they drag it over the street. So I mean, like, I don't know. I guess it
typically happens in the United States.
It's not a matter of it typically happening. I mean, like, there have been people that have been killed in these protests and riots so far. And I mean, like, who's to say that you're not going to be the next? Like, I don't know.
I mean, there have been at least 20 Marvel movies. I doubt you can find that many live leak videos of people being killed. So
I think this is sarcastic. Okay. Now, maybe I have autism, or maybe Vosh has autism, and maybe, it's not sarcastic. I do genuinely think that comment is sarcastic, right? That's sarcastic. That I think there's at least 20 Marvel movies, and I don't think I've seen that many gore videos. That's sarcastic. Please, God, somebody in chat say it's sarcastic. Okay, Samson says gotta be. Okay, hopefully. Grasser says, oh God, I miss Destiny. You can technically just watch Destiny, but he's more boring now. He has a banger debate every now and then, but the cost of him not being as much of a sex degenerate is the cost that he's a little bit more dry these days. It is what it is. Do you want Steven to do well as a human being, or do you want Steven to make banger content? Because I think some days, I think these might be mutually exclusive. I didn't take it as sarcasm. For real? For real? Christian Blair says it's 100% sarcasm. I don't know what you mean by sarcastic. Okay, so what I mean is the statement itself is absurd, okay? And maybe we're realizing that some of us in the chat have autism, okay? The statement itself is absurd that, well, there's at least 20 Marvel movies, as if that's evidence of how you should conduct yourself in real life. And the reason why is because Marvel is clearly fiction. There's a suspension of reality that involves the morality of a movie. Now, that doesn't mean that Marvel doesn't have real commentary on the real world, but it's a fictional setting. The characters can literally do whatever you want them to do. So while it could be used for decent for making like a moral point, it's probably not good about realism. Whereas Steven is saying is if you go onto some website I've never heard of, or if you go onto LiveLeak, which unfortunately is closed, you can watch endless gore videos of people getting killed like justly and getting killed unjustly. And so for me, it feels like Vosh is being sarcastic that he doesn't think that there's that many people who have been videotaped being killed unjustly. I hope you guys are not so autistic that you don't see that. Even if Vosh is so autistic that he was being serious, I hope you guys aren't so autistic that you can't see the potential sarcasm.
Yeah, I'll hinge my bet.
And finally, there's his debate with Vegan Games.
Yeah, I think that was entirely sarcastic.
Where he plays devil's advocate for child pornography.
So, you know, there's pedophiles, right, who buy child pornography. Would you say they should not be held responsible for doing that?
Yes.
Really? Even though they're directly supporting child rape?
Yeah, I think it's hypocritical. If I because I bought my computer and the silicon in it was farmed in Africa by slaves, if I can do that and that's legal and no one's going to call me out on my shit, then yeah, I have to be consistent in that respect.
Okay, look, I think there's levels to this. So I wouldn't equate buying a computer to buying child pornography. I mean, it's in order to pretty much have a job anymore, you need a computer. So do you really think it's reasonable to equate something like buying something that might cause some amount of cruelty exploitation in the world that you need for your job just to be able to like not be homeless, to something that you're buying purely for very shallow personal pleasure that causes horrible, irreparable damage to somebody lifelong?
I mean, we can actually like
Wordsmith Andy says, "Joke's on you. I'm not autistic. I'm just R-slurred."
Petition it out.
You're R-slur maxing.
I don't know how much child pornography goes on the market these days. I haven't exactly checked.
I'm sure you haven't, Vosh. I believe you. He's had many moments like these where he seemingly defends CP and Lolicon, but his excuse has always been to blame it on him being a debate bro. He's saying this stuff to win arguments, not because he likes children.
Zoophile, like drawn stuff, it should be 100% legal. In fact, and this is going to be a real hot take, I have yet to hear a convincing moral or legal argument as to why possession of child pornography should be illegal.
Okay, so this is where I think Rob might say it. He might have already said it, and I just didn't hear it. But I don't think that Vosh, and I'm really not trying to sweep, by the way. He has all his terrible things. But actually, you know what? This is a map moment. Let me explain the map that I have, and let me draw a map real quick. Oh no, I got tree brush. I got tree stuff into my drawing. Let me pull up the Microsoft Paint, okay? So we haven't gotten there all the way yet, and there are some other characters that I'm probably going to add later on. But Destiny is like the main vampire. I think I might have said this previously, but somebody definitely put it in chat where they're like, "Oh, Destiny is like Dracula, where he like bites other people, and then they're like they're sub vampires, and then they create their own covens." And so maybe this is a joke, by the way. If we killed Destiny, then Hassan Piker and Vosh would burst into flames. And then if Hassan Piker and Vosh burst into flames, then all of their sub-vampires would burst into flames as well, okay? So Destiny obviously helped out Hassan in the beginning of his career, helped out Vosh in the beginning of his career through debates and collaborations and this, that, the other. Vosh has his own orbit, which is Demon Mama, Keffels, Cherry, and Xanderhall. Keffels has imploded. Cherry no longer works in the space, to my knowledge. Xanderhall has imploded and is hanging on by his skin and the skin of his teeth. Demon Mama has quit the scene. Hassan had Bad Bunny, Mike from PA, and Frogan. Mike from PA and Frogan are still here. Oh, Denims. That's who I knew there was somebody else. I need to add Denims real quick. Denims arguably used to be a Destiny orbiter and then became a Hassan orbiter. And she doesn't actually react to anything. She just kind of sits there with her boobs out and goes, huh. And she makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. So if Denims can be a streamer, I think I can be a streamer. I think I'm a better streamer than Denims. But anyways, maybe I just don't have big enough cans to be a streamer, but that's okay. So anyways, the point is that... hold on. Let me do a straight line, I guess. Denims used to be a Destiny orbiter. Now she's a Hassan orbiter. But anyways, the point is, Mike from PA is still making six figures. Denims is making six figures being terrible streamers. Bad Bunny, I think, has quit the scene, but she used to be a Destiny orbiter. Now, and I think they dated or hooked up. And now, and then she turned into a Hassan Piker orbiter. Then I think she fell off the scene when she got banned from Twitch. Frogan is still a Hassan orbiter. She probably she ekes out a living, I suppose. So anyways, this is the orbiter dynamics. And we'll go through, I'll probably create a different video. What would I say? Left tube orbits. I'll leave that. But let's create a new one real quick. So with Vosh, Steven had the whole like incest debate arc, which I still think is cringe and gross, but it's a huge meme in DGG where he's like, demonstrate the harm in incestuous acts such that you can prohibit all incestuous acts. And it's an argumentative strategy effectively to show that I think a lot of people have not carefully considered their arguments. And as a result, they think that they have moral instincts that are just like descriptively correct about the world, but they don't. And they have not thought through why things are bad. I think that was the point of the incest argument, either that or Destiny's childhood was way more fucked up than I thought that it was. So Vosh's line of argumentation, as far as I know, is that we consume products that have predictable harm to animals and humans. And I think maybe I might need to make this smaller, but I'll leave it big for now. Who cares? Examples. We eat trillions of of sentient creatures every year who have emotions and experience pain. And we enslave other humans for luxury consumer goods like electronics and shoes. And this is just true. Okay, this is just true. Logically, we do this thing. And yet, and I'm going to use, I guess, like CP or whatever. CP is a consumer, I don't even want to say good, consumable item that has predictable harmful effects to humans. Ergo, therefore, if we don't indict people for eating animals / leather products / using slaves, how can we indict people for using or for consuming CP? Ergo, okay, because I think he's arguing for socialism within these things. Let me do that. And then let me do some boxes real quick. Box. box, box, box. And then I'm going to do an overall box for all this stuff. So using this logic, let me do this because capitalism obviously emphasizes cost, sometimes at the ignoring morality. And as a matter of fact, I'll just write that because that's the conclusion. Since capitalism oftentimes sacrifices morality for efficiency, shouldn't we move to a more moral system like socialism, where morality is prioritized over efficiency, so we create a more just world? That's like the entirety of the argument if you accept Vosh doing that. Now, the problem is that he has like a consequentialist analysis. I actually blame Destiny for Vosh's own consequentialism. And so as a result, Vosh ended up consuming lolicon hentai because he couldn't see demonstrable, predictable harm of him engaging in that behavior. Okay? But this is the steelman of Vosh's position. It's, of course, just undermined by him consuming lolicon hentai. Vosh's steelman. All right, anyways. Anybody got any questions or concerns about that one? I think that this is true.
Actual child porn.
Please, right now, uncuck your dumb shit lip-cuck fucking SJW brains and recognize this empirically correct fact that I am about to spit. It is possible.
And you also can't make arguments like this. If you're gonna say that this is all an argument against capitalism, you can't make an argument like this.
For an adult and a child to have a sexual relationship and for it to have positive outcomes on the child as well, that is possible.
We have at some point in our lives been going fucking crazy on some hentai site. And
Connor Can's maxing arc? No.
We've been fucking stroking as hard and fast as we can, and then after we nut, we go back, look over our history chat, and we go like, oh, geez. Oh, boy.
Sacred Snow says, oh my god, this is brutal. Frogan makes enough money not to starve, but doesn't make enough money for Ozempic. Damn you, capitalism. Oh, I'm not even Frogan, and that hurts my feelings. You're calling her broke and not sufficiently wealthy to be vain. Oof.
Boy, some of these girls looked pretty young. Okay, I don't give a fuck.
And then his porn folder got leaked.
Dang, Jesus says, you might be a better streamer, but have you seen Denim's OnlyFans? I mean, I have a girlfriend, but I can imagine. Jeez, Jesus. Wow, Jesus has fallen off in the past 2,000 years. That's kind of brutal.
Just filled with animated sexual depictions of little girls and horses. No matter which way you look at
Keycode says, Counterpoints, I know it's such a used frequent question, but how do you recommend start doing YouTube? I'm assuming you can't go live since you don't have an audience. You might be able to just go live. You might be able to go live with 0 subs. My recommendation is start creating the content that you like and figure out if you actually like it. And what I mean by that is I'm an idiot and I like 10 different kinds of content. I like live streaming. I like pre-recorded content. I like essays. I like editing. I like reacts. I like breakdowns. I like all of it. So you might have in your mind's eye a certain kind of content that you want to build, but you might find that you don't like it. There's a reason why most streamers are just streamers. There's a reason why most video essayists are just video essayists. There's a reason why most React people are React people. And there is a reason why most breakdown people are just breakdown people. It's because not only do they find their niche that works for them, but to some degree, they probably enjoy the content. And if you don't enjoy the content, then this job is going to become just like any other job. And that's kind of not the point, right? You want more freedom. You want more financial freedom. You want to make a name for yourself. You want to be respected in the industry. You want to make something that probably outlasts you as a mortal human being. And so the only way to create the content that you picture in your mind is just to start and see if the process is what you think it's cracked up to be. That's the only way. It's the only way.
At it, it's bad. According to his own standards, Vosh is a pedophile.
The thing that bothers me.
But Simo says, doesn't Andrew Wilson argue the gay brother argument? Yeah, he does. He stole Destiny's incest argument.
Is people who pretend there's no relationship whatsoever between like drawn lolly shit and actual attraction to children. Because of course there's a relationship between those things. It's ridiculous to pretend otherwise. So they need to be aware of that, if anything.
Are you saying that based on common sense, or is there any evidence of that?
Any evidence of that? You mean, okay, so I've had a bunch of links thrown at me by people who are, again, very sussy, trying to argue there's not actually a relationship between instances of child predation and access to like lolicon or whatever.
Somebody said that there's a correlated study. I hate to Google this, but I think I need to. Correlated study on child abuse material consumption versus study on child abuse material consumption. I think it's in Australia. And again, if there's any like spicy things that pop up, I'll exit out. But Australian Institute of Criminology, somebody told me about this, but I never checked it out. Based on an online panel survey of 13,000 people, this study examines the common demographic characteristics of those who have intentionally viewed the material. Over 0.8% of those surveyed reported they had intentionally viewed CSAM in the past. This is somewhat lower than previous estimates, which have ranged from 2 to 5%. Further analysis based on logistics regressions and predictable probabilities identified 4 key demographic factors associated with consumption. Survey respondents were aged 18 to 34, predicted probability of 1.2%, were living with disability, predicted probability of 1.5%, were currently serving or had previously served in the military, 2%, that's weird, or spoke a language other than English at home, predicted at 2%, were more likely than others to have intentionally viewed it. Now, that's not what I was looking for. What I was looking for is an increase in antisocial behavior after having consumed it. Because I thought somebody said that there was a correlated study that had come out of Australia. I'll try to research it on my own thing. But the whole point is that, like, even my neuroplasticity argument, which is basically what you do with your brain, you typically will do more of. So do not do bad things with your brain. That's as simple as the argument gets for me.
I would assume there is a correlation between people who really want to believe that and people who are pedophiles. So
yeah, I'd be willing to bet that.
Though his cope is an
Simba says consequentialism is not the justification for lolly lol. I mean, I think I've heard both Steven and Vosh whenever I've made that argument that I'm like, hey, I don't think you should consume this stuff because even if you, let's say that somebody made this argument of like, what if you go up into the attic, you draw your own thing, you consume it, and then you throw it away? What have you harmed? What have you changed? My argument would be that you have altered your brain through normalizing that behavior with yourself. And they're like, okay, well, what if it only happens once? Then I'm like, yeah, I guess you technically shouldn't be incarcerated for engaging in a private behavior that has no effect on the outside world. My point, though, is that whatever you do with your brain is a neural connection that you are reinforcing. Therefore, on the degree of harm, it might be such a small harm that consequentialists can ignore it. I don't ignore it. I don't ignore it. I think that you should evaluate how you spend your time, how you spend your willpower, how you spend the way that you live on this earth. Everything you do should be evaluated.
Only a few of the images were lolly, and that most of these little girls were in fact not children, but instead short-stacked goblins.
That's also, I don't know if that's a joke or an intentional inaccuracy or an unintentional inaccuracy. Vosh was saying that the build was similar to short stack goblins, which again is like an insane sentence, but that's the internet for ya.
When asked about possibly being a zoophile, he claims he doesn't actually jerk off to horsecock. He wants to be the horse. Though this fell on deaf ears since he's argued in favor of bestiality and admits to letting his pet geckos lick his dick. A couple of months ago, someone alleged that Vosh had sexually inappropriate conversations with a minor, which I can't read here since it could risk this video getting age restricted or taken down. Vosh fans dismiss these Discord—
Oh my god, Lauren, thank you for the news updates, by the way. It was just announced about 15 minutes ago that a federal judge has dismissed the indictments against James Comey and Letitia James. Sorry, guys. This is why I get pissed off at Destiny. I do. Like when we were arguing during the we need to go after MAGA types or whatever, we need to criminally punish them as much as they have attempted to punish us. For me, the court systems are working. Hilmar Abrego Garcia got the correct ruling. It went up to the Supreme Court. It got the correct ruling. This case against Letitia James and James Comey getting dismissed before they even made it to a case. And you have to understand that this hurts MAGA. This hurts MAGA bad. The fact that Donald Trump and the whoever, Pam Bondi, keep trotting out charges against who was it? Cruella DeVille. I forget Cruella DeVille's name, but Cruella DeVille, the Hawaiian girl. Cruella DeVille and Pam Bondi keep saying Obama committed seditious conspiracy against the United States. And he manipulated the Justice Department in order to keep Trump out of office. That's pretty serious. If that's true, Obama should go to prison. How come there aren't any criminal charges against Obama? How come there were criminal charges against Jack Smith, Letitia James, and James Comey, and Letitia Smith and James Comey just got dismissed? Why hasn't Donald Trump proven outcome determinative election fraud for 2020? Now that he's a part of the government again, now that he has all of the power of the world at his fingertips, why does he not have the capacity to prove outcome determinative voter fraud in the 2020 election? These things should, and to some degree do, create cognitive dissonance within the MAGA cultists, where they can line up all of the talking points for why Obama's a traitor, why James Comey's a traitor, why Jack Smith is a traitor, why everybody's a traitor, and yet they cannot even get the cases in front of a judge or a jury for review. MAGA is hurting itself.
Screenshots is fake until a screen.
So no, I don't accept the fact that Democrats need to be as bad as Republicans in order to win. I reject that.
Recording verified their validity. I'm not surprised if these are real either way, as Vosh has also argued in favor of lowering the age of consent. Due to all these controversies, Vosh has entered a fortress arc.
Bellrunner says, like the stream. True. Like the stream, share it with your friends. Okay, number one, I'm going to do a harder show. Like the stream, it's free. Even if you don't want to hang out with us, even if you're not engaging the content, it's a way to say that you enjoy the fact that I stream every single day and some of my content is good, so you want me to keep doing it, so you're liking it, and it's free. Engage with chat. We got lots of really cool, funny, interesting people in chat, and it's actually like when I don't work, like I'm going to take Thursday and Friday off, to some degree, I'm going to feel like something is missing, because normally for 4 to 5 hours a day, I'm yapping it up with 100 psychos. No offense. But there's lots of funny, interesting, cool people in my chat. Super chats, if you got them, memberships, if you got them. Probably half of the people in here, a quarter of the people in here have donated already at some point within the past couple of weeks. And we also have people who are incredibly generous to the stream. And you know, obviously the stream runs on money. So your financial support is greatly appreciated. So for instance, thank you, Grassroots, for the 20 that he just donated. The courts are not owned in the way partisans think they are. Lawyers do not run on that software. Constitutionalists do not run on that software. I agree. And Donald Trump has not had enough time to infect and destroy the courts the way people think he has. So I'm going to thank Grassroots. Thank you for the oil. Thank you for the 10. Thank you to Philip Coffey for the 20. Thank you to Grassroots for the 50. Thank you to Grassroots again for the 20. Thank you to Test Dummy Human for the 50. I think it's 500 sec. I think it's 50. And thank you to Fell Runner for the 10. I couldn't do this stuff without you guys. I seriously appreciate it. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for having a good time.
Pretty much not interacting with anyone outside his community. Whenever he tries attacking someone like Ethan Klein, he immediately gets put back in his place by being called a horse-fucking pedophile. Despite this, Vosh's channel is still doing pretty well, averaging 100,000 views per video. Obviously, not at the
Yeah, and see that's the thing is like Vosh, all in all, he can stay in the Fortress arc, which I think is embarrassing considering the way that a lot of people viewed Vosh, including me, is I did not think he was as good of a debater as Steven. I just didn't. But I did think he was talented enough to create his own orbit. I thought he was charismatic enough. I thought he was funny enough. But it seems like with the Rittenhouse debate, it seems like with the Agua debate, it seems like with a few other debates, he just didn't bring his A game. And as a result, he had really bad debates. Oh, same thing with Sargon of Akkad, by the way. I was like new to Vosh's content when he was taking on Sargon of Akkad. So even though I agreed with Sargon more on political issues, I still wanted to see, I always found him to be like a smug bitch. So I wanted to see Vosh like take it to him and have some good arguments and have a good debate with Sargon. But I felt like he didn't bring his A game again. And so as a result, he didn't have a good showing. But it seems like Vosh had half a dozen bad showings, lost his hunger, lost his desire for his debate, realized that he could make just as much money just going into the Fortress arc and being a React Andy. And now, arguably, he's been a React Andy for longer than he was a debater. And I think that's cucked. I think that's pussy shit. I think it's weak. It makes me sad. It feels like with a lot of lefties, they seem to not want to realize their full potential. I think Vosh has effectively abandoned his potential as a creator because he did some cringe things and he had some bad debates. So he doesn't want to take the heat whenever he enters into the public space. Yeah, I think it's weak.
Same level he was at 4 years ago, but still impressive numbers after getting exposed as a freak who jerks off the children. Because of this, Vosh...
Which is, again, I'm not going to defend him. I think that's a little bit hyperbolic, but sure.
Sympathizes with the plight of Innuendo Studios, shouting out his GoFundMe without stating the real reasons this guy is going bankrupt.
A lot of the stuff that I've talked about on this channel...
No, I understand Death Note conceptually. I'm with you. I just don't think that that's affecting our calculations here.
Channel for years are essentially like iterations on information that I first encountered watching some of his alt-right playbook videos. It's a good channel.
True conservative liberalism. No, I'm okay with this. I might be crazy, but from where I'm looking, Vosh abandoned his potential when he engaged in apologia for bestiality and child porn. I agree. I think he's a Beverly Hills artistic, not necessarily autistic, but he's a Beverly Hills artistic fail son. And I know you're going to say, oh, that's funny because considering how successful he is. But I think he's a fail son in the regards that if streaming didn't exist, if the current live stream environment didn't exist, he would be a charismatic guy working in media. That's all he would be. I don't think he has enough charisma. I don't think he has the right look to be a mainstream political pundit. But because live streaming exists, because YouTube exists, he's carved out his little niche. And I do think he abandoned his potential because he got money. And in my opinion, similar to Destiny, he just said, you know what the ultimate good is? Doing whatever I want to do. End of moral analysis. And I think it's lazy. I think it's cringe.
Yeah, go support him through GoFundMe or through his Patreon if you can.
Though deep down, he's hoping Ian doesn't make too much money.
Yeah, the Dankula debate wasn't good either.
Because Vosh obviously doesn't want competition.
Now, was Innuendo Studios mean to me on Twitter at some point? Probably. A lot of people have been. But you know what? I'm willing to be the...
I don't believe that Vosh is actually diagnosed. He can post his medical records to the internet.
Bigger man and say I forgive him. It's good stuff. Ian Danskin deserves so much more than his current...
Key Code says, what's the difference between him and food shops? Vosh has the shame to not advocate for lolicon in public.
In a situation, if we're actually socialists like we claim to be. Hold on, Gigasad, person who just joined the chat. I saw you a second ago. You said that if Ian Danskin streamed, you would watch him more than me. Ho, ho, ho. Listen, okay? Let's not take solidarity too far. You still have to give me all your money every month. All right? Let's not go overboard.
Vosh, your capitalism is showing. Gotta watch out, man. Karl Marx would be very disappointed in you. Despite having this mindset, Vosh still doesn't understand how Innuendo Studios could be failing. How could this guy be losing money after only putting out 30 minutes worth of content a year?
I just think it's disgraceful that, you know, somebody as talented as Innuendo Studios could be having issues like this. Now, in fairness, I don't think that the man's run his channel much as a business, but I don't think everyone should have to.
Well, if you want to make YouTube your full-time job, yes, you have to. I know you guys are socialist grifters, but if you want to avoid going broke, you actually have to make money. Being a bed blob isn't going to make you a millionaire unless you're Jabba the Hutt. It's like if you ran a small restaurant and only opened it to the public once a month. That's how Innuendo Studios runs his channel. Yet Vosh doesn't see it that way. He thinks Ian's content is incredibly time-consuming to make, despite mostly putting out 5-minute slideshows.
Ranger Nation Dubs. This is an interesting comment to me. I was a Vosh fan who moderated as he found a real political identity. I wonder how many people go that route versus the other way, going more radical from something like Destiny or whatever. Yeah, it bounces back and forth. I think people tend to moderate as they get older. But my question to you is, are you saying that you think Vosh moderated? Or are you saying that you moderated? Because in my opinion, Vosh he didn't really moderate. He's still, as far as I know, like a libertarian socialist, a narco-socialist, a narco-communist. He still advocates from those positions. He's still incredibly anti-democrat. He's still incredibly like anti-institutionalist. He's still like as far as I know, he's still incredibly anti-cop, incredibly anti-military, incredibly anti-American. I think the only thing that really differentiates him between Hassan Piker and him is the fact that he's not a tanky. He doesn't advocate for a violent revolutionary overthrow of a capitalist liberal government in favor of the socialist one. He's incrementalist in reference to socialism. But I've still heard Vosh advocate for protests, riots, violence, even terrorism. I've heard him advocate for eco-terrorism. So I'm kind of curious if you're saying that Vosh is moderate or if you moderated over time.
When the right-wing grift sphere is basically all like affirmative action for retards. I mean, you can be the most incompetent fail-son in the world.
We lost 20 people and then 20 people came back. So either a bunch of people lost their internet connection or one of your favorite lib streamers went live. You realized that they were going to do something boring and you came back. Fuck all you guys, by the way. Like, I love you. Thank you for being here. Like the stream, share it with your friends, engage with chat, super chats if you got them. But you disloyal fucks.
And still like prop yourself up through that.
Oh, damn, Hutch is live. Ah, damn, Hutch is doing something boring. Fuck, I'm gonna go back to Cotter. Oh, Lonerbox is live. Oh, Lonerbox is doing something boring. I'm back. Oh, Destiny's live. Oh, Destiny's doing something boring. I'm back. Yeah, fuck you guys.
And you can be so sharp and so intelligent on the left-wing side, but you also need to be...
Thanks, it's just Avi and Patriarch. I love you more than I love the other kids, okay? You are my favorite kid. Obviously, Grassroots Hegemon is my favorite kid, but Patriarch and it's just Avi. For what you've just said, you are now my favorite kids compared to my other kids.
Lucky and a shrewd businessman, and you need to be like ruthlessly exploiting every mechanism of monetization. And it's like, just why?
Oh, nice. Ranger Nation says I'm a progressive Republican, like the bull moose without the weird race stuff. Awesome, bro. Awesome. Let's be friends.
Is it so stacked against us? And when I say us, I mean us in like the lefty space, obviously.
Sorry, I'm going to pause real quick because people are writing funny shit. West Coast Girl says, excuse me, I left because my favorite F1 commentator posted a video, lol. Okay, so do you mean F1 racing or do you mean F1 Savannah Cats? Because this is important. And I'm going to show you guys real quick. So F1 is cool. F1 racing. I'm just going to Google. Everybody already knows what this was. It's basically like if race cars became fighter jets and then they raced on the ground, that would be F1 racing. I always thought F1 racing was way more interesting than NASCAR. So if you're talking about F1 racing, that's based, okay? Now, if you're super into Savannah Cats, a Savannah Cat is a serval, which is a wild cat mixed with a domestic short hair. And so as a result, you get a domestic short hair cat with the patterning of a serval, which is a wild cat. This is a serval, by the way. and they're 30 pounds. They like water. They can jump 9 feet high. And if I ever succeed as a creator to the point that I'm making like 6 figures and change, where not only am I paying my bills, but I'm also doing an annual like disaster relief thing, and I still have money left over at the end of the year, I might get an F1 Savannah Cat. So West Coast Girl, please share with me and with the chat. What are you talking about?
Well, I've gotten very lucky, but I am absolutely the outlier.
Oh, Short was like, oh, wow, that's exactly what I do. Fuck you, Short.
Aw, man. Why do we have to put effort into our content? Can't we just get free money? How come these right-wingers are financially destroying us?
All right. So we're going to wrap that segment there. We'll go find some debate content. And what I would say is I do want to watch the Keffel segment because I think it's so funny. I do want to watch the DJ Mule segment because it's so funny. Maybe next stream, if we blaze through that, I'll watch the Noah Samson segment. But in summary, a lot of people have taken huge hits out of BreadTube that were kind of deserved. And I experienced like a decent amount of schadenfreude for them taking their hits. And this is one of the hits that Vosh took before I move into my other drawing, which is he made arguments that Lolicon and or CP might be as moral equivalent to engaging in slavery or as morally equivalent as like consuming animals. I think the counter argument there from Vegan Gains that just immediately destroys Vosh's logic is that consuming animals is arguably necessary for the human species. It might not technically, like you can be vegan. Of course, Vegan Gains would argue that, but I think that we're an omnivorous species. We're not unique in the animal kingdom that we consume animals. So meat is arguably necessary for human civilization. Whereas like a computer is also arguably necessary for human civilization because it's such a common computer good that if you mine silica in Africa, we still need that silicone. We still need that lithium. We still need that, this, that, the other, okay? Whereas consuming it to, Lolicon, CP, whatever, that's a consumer good that really doesn't have any good effects for humanity or human civilization. It actually probably has a bunch of negative effects. So comparing them in those degrees doesn't make sense. I think it's a stupid argument. I think that's why Vosh has moved off of it, is because not only is it unoptical as fuck, but it's also stupid as shit. Now, the steelman of Vosh's perspective is that since capitalism often sacrifices morality for efficiency, shouldn't we move on to a more moral system like socialism, which prioritizes morality over efficiency so we create a more just world? That's the steelman of Vosh's perspective. I still think it's stupid, but it's stupid for different reasons I won't get in here. Now, the other drawing that I made as a result of this little drama stream that we just did is here. And it's effectively the orbits, where Destiny, we can blame to some degree for actually birthing Hassan and Vosh's careers, where they were considered orbiters at one time of Destiny, and they were able to leapfrog into their own stuff. And Hassan was probably going to succeed. Let's be real. His uncle was probably going to support him through it financially, and then eventually he would be successful. But Destiny jump-started his career. And he created his own orbit with Bad Bunny, who quit the space, Mike from PA, who is still leeching off of Hassan, Denims, who is still leeching off of Hassan, and Frogan, who's still leeching off of Hassan. So this part of the left tube, bread tube sphere has not collapsed, except for Kira Chats or Bad Bunny. And that's because she was fed posting on Twitch, and 90% of her revenue was from Twitch, and she got banned. That's why she's gone. I actually don't think it's because she's done anything personally embarrassing. Although she's done plenty of things that are personally embarrassing, I think she actually just lost her source of revenue. Whereas with Vosh, what's happened is Keffel's imploded. We didn't get to it today, but Keffel's did a GoFundMe that she probably misspent and misallocated shitloads of the funds. And so she's gone, quit as far as I know. Xander Hall is clinging on for dear life, barely making enough money in order to pay bills. Cherry was their editor that was referenced in some of this drama. And then Demon Mama had a personal drama where in her polycule, one of her partners had engaged with an underage person where they were sharing pornography with each other. And I think as a result of not really making that much money as a content creator, and also as a result of the public embarrassment of the polycule getting attacked online, she was like, fuck this, it's not worth it anymore. And she quit. And then Vosh realistically could have saved his orbit if he wanted to. If he wanted to make amends with Xander Hall, raid into Xander Hall on occasion, he could save Xander Hall's career. He probably could have raided into Keffels and saved Keffels' career. He probably could have raided into Demon Mama and saved Demon Mama's career, but he didn't. He's kind of selfish. He just shows up. He streams for 3 or 4 hours. He creates a couple of drama segments that are half-assed. He takes the 200,000 views off of the video, and he does not pass go. He just let his orbit collapse. And then finally with Innuendo Studios, which is how we kicked it off, he was a video essayist who did 2 hours worth of work, which realistically is maybe 60 days worth of effort. He put in 60 days of effort over the past 2 years. So frankly, if you're a far lefty, I don't know why you're not embarrassed by this. Like, if you were like a socialist and these people were your best advocates, these people were your best friends, these people were your daily viewerships, I don't know why you're not embarrassed that Hassan Piker is a terrorist apologizing piece of shit. Bad Bunny nuked her career by Fed posting. Mike from PA sucks. Denim sucks. Frogan sucks. And then Vosh's orbit collapsed because he didn't give a fuck about it. So, and then Hunter Avalon almost got murdered. That was the other thing that we went over today. So I got to run because I need to get a haircut. I parasocially love you guys. I will see you